Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Capital. And with me in the studio today is my good friend Jim. And Jim, what do you think of that squirrel there? He's like a two-tone squirrel.
That's a hybrid squirrel.
Well, what we're going to do here on June 9th, Jim will accompany me and we'll go to a Detroit Stars baseball game. And we're en route to the ballpark here. We parked up there at Woodward and Charlotte. And here's a nice church. And then a Vietnam Memorial. They're supposed to reposition that granite there. Look at this. Sports Facility of the Year.
Hey, Little Caesars Arena opened last fall, and it's impressive, isn't it?
It sure is. And they have security there, too. So don't try nothing. And then, okay, there's going to be some urban planning back there also. But look at this flower. This is like a big globe thing. It's a neat little bulb.
Wow. It's perfectly round.
Everything has its day in the sun. Hey, check out the train station back there. You notice that, Jim?
For sure. The old Michigan Central Depot from 1913. And the Q Line streetcar.
Well, Ford is going to get on it with the depot. Yes,
they are. And that's a building that people have wanted to see come back. And it finally has, and that's a big boost for the city and the Corktown neighborhood on the near west side.
We're going to take the detour here, which is always fun, but this was the free promotion. Jim and I like checking out this game so we can get a free hat. The Negro League Detroit Stars. These hats are made in China, Jim. I don't know, with the tariffs in place now, maybe they won't give those out for free in years.
I have a collection of baseball hats, and no two are made in the same country, but none of them in the U.S., actually. But hey, that's free trade.
This was a promotion, Comerica Bank, and these are the racing cars. This is a super sport.
That's right. You got to be at the ball game to see the racing cars and other activities between innings.
Ty Cobb, probably the greatest Tiger of all time.
367 career batting average.
Yeah, how can you beat that? And
well, check out. Yeah, that's the new Little Caesars central office building, which is connected to the Fox. It's got little pizza slice windows. That's cool. So this was the special occasion and giveaway.
This wasn't a giveaway. I had to get a special ticket in order to get this fedora hat, but a nice Detroit Tigers theme with the hat. This one made in China. But, yeah, a little styling. Hats are more in vogue now. They're coming back, so that's a good thing. So...
it is. Protect your noggin from the UV rays and such. But that is a rockin' hat.
Well, we got here and a rain delay. Let me turn up the sound. We might get some music here. Let's check it out. Well, certainly a rain theme song there, but we're checking out Brush Park right now, looking through the fence there. And Brush Park could be a nice success story.
Yeah, it's a historic neighborhood just north of the ballpark, just north of downtown and east of Woodward. There have been various efforts made to revitalize that area. And they're beginning to bear fruit. Some of the old surviving mansions have been renovated, and there's new housing going up there. It's a great location.
Yeah, more and more neighborhoods are getting on board with the Detroit revival. It's not just downtown and Midtown anymore, which is good.
But it's spreading out to a larger area of the city.
Here they gave a big check to the Detroit Negro Leagues, and everybody's happy and waving. Yeah, $20,000.
And that is to restore the old Detroit Stars ballpark, right?
At Hamtramck Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It's right next to Keyworth Stadium in Hamtramck. And this is long overdue. This is an easy thing to pull this one off. Unfortunately, we've heard the bad news about the Boblo boat and so forth, and whether that can be recommissioned and redone remains to be seen. But Keyworth Stadium was the home of the Detroit, or not Keyworth, the Hamtramck Stadium was the ballpark for the Detroit Stars in the Negro Leagues, and that ballpark should be renovated and should be ready to go. That's an easy fix. It's not like millions of dollars. We're talking this can be done. We can do this.
Yes. For a mere thousands of dollars, really.
Yeah, but it's a nice ballpark in the city of Hamtramck, and with the history involved, there's no reason why this can't be done. It's important to the community. Maybe a corporate sponsor has to step up to the plate and say, listen, we're up for this. We'll put up a certain amount of dollars and make this happen. I love the glasswork here for the Little Caesars new corporate offices.
Yeah, aren't they cool? Supposed to resemble pizza slices.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that was kind of the inspiration for the triangular windows.
Okay, that's
so
interesting.
They're adding space, adding to their investment in downtown Detroit. There's what used to be the David Broderick Tower. I'm not sure what they call it now, but that's upscale apartments. And there's the familiar neon ball atop the Penobscot building.
Now, but when we saw this, the ball was red. It's recently like a purple or dark blue is the styling on it. But here we're in the midst of a rain delay, which is kind of different and interesting. Typically, you might be bummed by a rain delay, but just the fact that it was something out of the ordinary, we were tracking this, and with all the technology now, we can see the storm tracker there.
And yeah, from that we could see that this rain was going to move out eventually and we'd get our game in. It was a 2-hour rain delay, so the game scheduled to start at about 4:10 ended up starting at 6 o'clock. But we had a good crowd of about 27,000 people on this rainy day as the Tigers played the Cleveland Indians in this Negro League tribute game,
which they have every year. Here at Vendor 108, they got a numbering system now for the for the vendors, but this afforded us time to walk around a little bit to see what was available as far as eats. You could get hot dogs, you could get Mexican, burgers, all the staples, Greek, and you could ride the
merry-go-round.
Yeah. We were trying to figure out if that was Tom Timmerman or not.
I think that is Tom Timmerman. Yeah, they have these little icons, these little pillars with images of the Tigers. Oh, this is interesting. So,
yeah, the history of the Tigers.
So our first
Tiger
African-American player was Larry Doby in 1959. And now some of these guys in the early era, pretty familiar names.
Gates Brown.
Come
the
on,
Gator.
Yeah. the Gator.
Oh, God, yeah. He
Best
was one of my
pinch hitter ever. Willie Horton, a true hero. He was on the 68 and 72 Tigers. Les Kane, he was a good pitcher. Ike
Brown, yeah.
Right. There was Gates and there was Ike. And here we get into the 70s. So as you know, the first black player in the major leagues was Jackie Robinson in 1947.
Detroit was one of the teams that took a while before they got integrated.
I understand we were actually second to last to have a black player on the team.
Here's Cecil Fielder. Here's one of the, and then the timeline continued on. I'm not going to get the full thing because I think the walkway stopped us here. But yeah, kids were playing as we were waiting for the rain delay to get over with. Here's a big bobblehead.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Miguel. You know this guy too, man.
Well, sure.
Classic.
Voice of a radio voice of the Tigers for the better part of 40 years. There's some of that's a hat they gave out. Okay,
no. This was I bought one of these. This was a true Negro Leagues Detroit Stars hat, but they had paraphernalia or stuff from all the Negro Leagues teams.
Leagues, which
look at some of the names of the teams, though,
and look at the graphics. Look at the quality of these emblems. How cool are they? Memphis Red Sox, the Cleveland Buckeyes,
Atlanta Black Crackers. That's almost funny because white people are supposed to be white crackers. So
that's right.
So I don't know how that came about.
And then
Indy Clowns.
Indy Clowns.
How do you come up with it?
Newark, Hilldale, the Barons. So 20 teams shown there. So these leagues, the Negro Leagues were in business from 1920 until the late 50s or so.
Yeah, and they were certainly an important part of history. That's why it's all important to kind of get that Hamtramck Stadium together. And, God, you could have any number of teams play there, and I think people would have fun watching teams play.
Oh, absolutely. Hamtramck is a great little city, good place to visit for its ethnic heritage, Polish and Yemen and Bangladeshi and everything else. Hamtramck being a little enclave in the city of Detroit.
These are well-built picnic tables here.
Yeah, these are heavy duty.
Heavy duty, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, our ballpark here, Comerica Park, was opened in the year 2000, replacing Tiger Stadium, which was at Michigan and Trumbull.
Oh,
okay.
We were going to get a drink here.
Would you like to catch a little alcohol buzz? Here's a good place to go. The, what do they call these things? The frozen daiquiri stand.
And you can get a double shot.
Double shot for...
That's the fancy glass, plastic glass that comes in. And here are guys hawking the cotton candy.
Yeah.
Under the rain. We're still in that rain delay. So it made the game was kind of interesting because, we did the 2-hour rain delay thing. It kind of...
Plenty of time to explore the ballpark.
Yeah. Now the grounds crew in action, which is kind of fun to watch this a little bit too.
Yeah, that's quite a job they do.
Here, if you want to subdivide the pig out, the ham's the butt end.
Yeah, no, that's educational.
But yeah, they're playing with the tarp here. There's a whole process.
Oh yeah, there is. They turn the whole thing upside down in the outfield to drain it, and then
there's the roller thingy.
Then they fold it, and then they roll it off the field.
Yeah, so they're gonna put that roller thingy in position here.
It's probably about a 20-minute process altogether.
Oh, so you were monitoring it.
Roughly. And then they'll go out there and they kind of put sand on the infield. Mm-hmm. The technology of has I think the equipment's a little more advanced. It used to be like kind of a rigid aluminum tube or something. I guess this is more manageable. There we go. Rolling along.
Everybody's getting involved here. It's like a dozen-man operation, if not more.
Yeah, if you want to work for the Tiger Stadium, I mean the Comerica Park grounds crew, you got to hustle.
Oh, yeah. We want the game to be on. So, yeah, let's play ball.
Heather Nabozny, a graduate of Michigan State University's turf program, is the head groundskeeper, and she does a great job. She's done a great job since this ballpark opened.
Here, again, the David Broderick Tower.
Roaring 20s skyscraper.
It's got that whale mural, which was a little controversial for a little while. Here, a Digi Super 76. It's made by Canon. That certainly blows away the Hi8 camcorder that I'm using, but nonetheless, you probably get the idea. Here, check out the lead sprayer. You know, it's like a lady leading the pack.
I see. Well, that might be Heather Nabozny herself.
Really? Yeah.
I'm guessing it might be. Knows how to get just the right amount of water on that infield.
Well,
a little irony that after all this rain, well, the infield was under the tarp, so you know, keep the dust down, keep a certain level of firmness. But yeah, you know, Michigan State University is it was called MUU, Michigan Agricultural College originally, and America's first land-grant university. So they teach farming and turf management. And Heather Nabozny, a graduate of that program, I think she started working for the Tigers before they left Tiger Stadium, and she's one of the best in the business.
Oh, we're going to get ready here for the celebration and some of the past stars from the Negro League. Let me turn up the volume to see if we can pick up some of the audio from the park.
A big hand for the one and only Willie Bolton. We now welcome 7 individuals who played a vital role in the history of baseball. Indianapolis Clowns and the Detroit Stars, a participant in the East-West All-Star Game in 1955. Those organizations. Please welcome the Cuban sensation, Pedro Sierra. Detroit Wolves and the New York Cubans from 1939 through 1948. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the one cool Ron Schoolboy Teasley. He was the one as the Great Escape. Meet Jake Sander. Lee Walker. Before becoming only the third woman to own a Negro League team. As an owner of the Detroit Stars in 1956. But that wasn't it. She then put on a glove, laced up her spikes, and hit the field to play for the Negro League team as a third baseman for the Kansas City Monarchs in 1958. The one and only Superwoman. This is Lee Walker. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you and forever changing the landscape of Major League Baseball. Thank you.
Thank you, Mason, and thank you once again.
Okay, checking out the Detroit Lions facility there, Ford Field.
So that is part of the downtown entertainment district. We have 4 major pro teams in the tightest radius of any city in America, I understand. And why not? Downtown is an ideal place for people from all over the region to come and watch a ball game. You can take public transit, you can drive down. There's lots of roads to get you down there. A lot more people living right downtown. So we have all 4 teams right together in the heart of the city.
First pitch shortly after 6:01 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And
we were
cool
facing,
uniforms.
Yeah, they're wearing the uniforms of the Detroit Stars and the Cleveland Buckeyes, which were the Negro League teams in the respective cities. And we came out for a look at the Ferris wheel, some of the family fun offered.
At first,
Park.
the Ferris wheel wasn't working, but once the rain stopped, they got that in action. There's the sun trying to peek through.
Oh, car race.
Oh, God, yeah. In the Motor City, oh, yeah.
We're going to win this one. It looks like our winner is P.D. Pickup. Congratulations, P.D. And you're the winner of the Metro Detroit 70 years Motor City race. Tigers fans, you got a chance to win.
What was that, the Chevy truck that won there?
I guess so.
Oh, nice catch. But look at the top of the Detroit Athletic Club. They went through a renovation and they added these top-end kind of suites or whatnot.
Yeah, that is sweet. It really highlights that building. And Detroit Athletic Club was designed by the great Detroit architect Albert Kahn, who designed great buildings all over Detroit, Dearborn, Ann Arbor, what have you.
Well, I think this was the point where we actually left the game.
I feel almost sheepish about that. We were in the ballpark for about 4 hours, and I think we left in the 6th. We thought we'd check out a little more downtown and catch the rest of the game on the TV screens.
Well, we were going to check out Cliff Bell's, but they had a wedding party kind of a thing, so it wasn't available. So we opted for a few other things. Here's a guy playing the sax.
They're one of a kind.
And then we stepped inside the Rusted Crow, and plenty of spirits available. Here, the weather report. And we were monitoring the game at this point. Oh, I missed the.
It was 1-1 at this point.
Okay.
And then we got to 2-2. Took the lead. Indians got that run back. This was, June 9th. Triple Crown, I think.
That was at the Belmont. Mm-hmm. And we did have a Triple Crown winner, didn't we?
We did. A rarity. So it's a little inside. We're looking good there. Up 2-1.
2-1. Bases loaded.
This is at the Kales building, which is West Adams and Park Avenue on Grand Circus Park.
Oh, this is the big dig here. This is the renovation of the old Statler Hilton.
Right.
And so they got a big hole in the ground, but they got to build up from that.
It'll be interesting to see that rise.
Look at this. This is the growth industry in Detroit. These party mobiles.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we continued our detour. We went to the WXYZ place. And they have good lighting in here. Do you notice this?
I do, yeah. A little modern lighting added to this little pub in the David Whitney building. A historic office building designed by Daniel Burnham and Associates of Chicago. It opened around 1918 or so and was the tallest building in the city at that time.
It's dog friendly. Look at this.
It's dog friendly. It's a mix of apartments and hotel rooms in this structure, which was an office building largely occupied by dentists and doctors, especially dentists. In fact, my aunt got a job here back in 1950 working for Dr. Freeman, a dentist. Building sadly fell into disuse in the 90s, but it has been reborn.
It's certainly dog friendly.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Look at the mailbox, though. This is intricate. This was back in the day when mail was ruled.
Yeah.
Now email is the big thing, but boy.
This attention to detail is really beautiful. I mean, this heavy brass, and look, even the
pineapple,
little brass pine cone, marble on the steps.
Oh.
There's like a 4-level atrium lobby in this building, and then another 15 floors or so above that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building, and it certainly harkens back to the glory days of Detroit, but no reason to think those glory days can't come back.
That's right.
Let's see if their clock is we're in sync here.
Hey,
I love that. But yeah, it's a beautiful atrium here.
See the skylight and a light well. This building had a light well to bring more natural light to the lobby and to the floors above.
Yeah, tons of marble, and then they have banquet facilities up here.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I used to have a space here right by the People Mover, and this was where it was at.
I remember that, yeah. A guy from
Small-
the New York Times came and interviewed on a story about Detroit and the city's struggle back in the circa 1990.
That was when I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but yeah. But I still kind of am. I'm cautiously optimistic about Detroit's hopes for the future. I think, we've turned the corner. We've reached that tipping point.
I think we have. We really neglected our city core, and there were a lot of people saying, hey, the future's in the suburbs, the city's in the suburbs now. Well, that's bullshit. And you just cannot duplicate the variety of people and things and collaboration that you have in the city center. It does my heart a lot of good to see this revitalization occurring. And we're out on Woodward Avenue. This was the shopping strip back in the day, up to the 70s, even maybe 80s, when Hudson's finally gave up the ghost, the great department store. So these were big retail stores. I mean, some of these stores, they had selling floors up 5 floors. They were big. Now they've been largely repurposed as apartments. But this is a great collection of early 20th century, late 19th, early 20th century architecture.
Here, I love this sign here, the Ghost ad. And we got Chubby Girls. That was
a Lane Bryant store.
That was politically correct back then. Girls could be chubby. Nowadays, maybe it wouldn't fly, but pleasantly plump, maybe you could say. I don't know. But, well, these are fashionable ladies here, and they're actually going to enter a club, which we will certainly enter here in a bit. But this is a nice little district here in Detroit.
Yeah, we're just off Woodward. We're on Griswold Street. This is the kind of north end of Griswold Street. It goes through Capitol Park.
Let's listen to the music just a second here.
Well, can I say goodnight to Keegan? It's up to Grandma and you, yeah. Hi, Keegan, how are you? So what did you have at Mother's?
Yeah, Cafe de Mongos. But we'll get a little bit more of the live action music because we'll step inside. But a fascinating little area here in Detroit.
Some kind of wonderful. Some kind of wonderful. Yeah.
I got a bunch of ones. It's not been a cheap night.
exactly why this is like to Ohio. Right, it's so great.
Oh, that's our sandwich there. And that hit the spot. Look at the Tigers won there, Jim.
Yeah, they did. That game went 12 innings, and Jamer Candelario, I believe, hit a walk-off homer for us. And we were still in the hunt back then.
Was that the last time the Tigers won, or?
No, a week after that. Through June 17th, we were 36-37, and just 2.5 games behind the Indians. But then things went a little south after that.
Yeah, they got to figure this one out. There you are, Jim. But we see these party bikes or mobile units all over the place. Detroit is a feeling. This is like a pop-up shopping center with these mini stores, kind of.
Yeah, this is interesting. This was a long neglected area, Capitol Park.
That's kind of funny.
It is.
Here and then
Malcolmson building.
A lot of artists used to be in this area, but now, well, gentrification has kind of taken hold a little bit.
It has a little, and that's upset some people that they feel like they're being priced out of these centrally located areas. But that building you showed was abandoned, and so was this building.
Prime and proper. So this is a new restaurant, and I don't know the story as how well they are doing, but they're upscale, and they're in a prime spot. I wish them well.
Certainly.
5th walk-off win, tied for most in AL. This was...
Yeah, those were kind of happier times.
God,
the
yeah.
Flag atop the iconic Guardian building. The Ally Bank building. One Detroit Center, 500 Woodward Avenue, whichever name you like. The clock from Kern's Department Store. You got to be a pretty old-timer or a Detroit history buff to remember Kern's Department Store. That closed back in 1959. The CompuWare and now Quicken Loans building stands in that block now. Avalon Cafe and Bakery, that's a local business that really did well. It started with kind of an artisanal bakery in the Cass Corridor. They now have a production facility on the east side. I think it's on Beaufait. And this is the Campus Martius area, right in the heart of the city. That's Campus Martius Park with the fountain, the ice skating rink during the cooler months. So this is Woodward Avenue today.
Yeah.
And we're going to catch a Q line ride.
Detroit or
Okay, buddy, you're on TV. So here's one of our Q line streetcars. I think there's 6 of them altogether. They run about a 3.3 mile route. Oh, nice job there. Shows the stations and the fare policy. Basically $1.50 for a 3-hour pass, on and off as many times as you like. $3 and you can ride all day. And you can hit everything downtown, midtown, cultural center, news center. And so if you're visiting Detroit and want to see a lot of the highlights.
I was having trouble using this facility. I think maybe I did get it eventually, but yeah, there we go. I should have gotten a 50-cent credit, but that's the ticket you get.
While we were studying the fare procedure, we kind of overshot our stop, but that was cool. It was cool. We hopped off by the Majestic Theater Complex.
The Hopcat Brewery, which by all accounts is doing quite well in Midtown. Yeah, we went a little further than we needed to up Woodward Avenue, Main Street, Detroit, but we have to backtrack to whence we parked. Not a problem. You can bowl over here, Jim.
Yeah.
I think it's the oldest bowling alley.
Oh, I think so. I think it's over 100 years old. The facade, when in the 1930s, they widened Woodward Avenue, and so a lot of buildings were moved back, or they had their fronts cut off, and they put new fronts on them. So a little bit of Detroit history there for you. So that's how our game ended with a Jamer Candelario.
Yeah, I'm checking this on the phone.
Homer.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with the phone nowadays, but yeah. Take a walk on the wild side is what you don't see at all. But look at what you can do with bowling pins. You can make an excellent table there.
Yeah, they're really well made.
And across the way, the Garden Theater, and that's a beautiful theater.
Indeed, some nicely renovated buildings.
A nice restaurant there, and hit the nail with the hammer. Boom. So they kept the logo, but they brought it down to the ground floor. It used to be at the top of the building.
That's right. When the Carpenters Union used this building, this was a Detroit connector all day to Ann Arbor. So U of M and MSU have little extension centers in the city now. And that's Orchestra Hall from 1919, designed by the great theater architect C. Howard Crane. It fell into disuse for a while, but was restored and is now the home of the Detroit Symphony.
Coming soon. I'm not sure if this sign's been up here for a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on it. The Q line in action. Then here, another place coming soon. We'll keep an eye on this too, but the nice concertina protective wire so nobody invades their space.
Empire, here's another new business in a new building.
Yeah, oven-fired pizza kind of deal here. Yeah,
it's good. So,
it's exciting. Yeah. The food. If you're a foodie, and I'm just partially. I mean, I like food and so forth, but there's people that really enjoy checking out the restaurant scene and what people have to offer, and that's part of the enjoyment of life, or the pursuit of happiness kind of thing. So
yeah.
You find an interesting place and you can have a good meal. Hey, it works for a lot of people. Okay.
It does.
Here we're making it back to the car. There was a little train track thing there. There's a guy that's really big in the Cass Corridor. And DET.com is the website. That was Founders Brewery. So they made a stake to claim in Detroit. Okay. What I'm going to do is switch tapes here. And we're going to go to the last part of a press conference that I attended in at Corktown. And it was for the repurposing of the train station into a facility, but for autonomous and electric vehicles. But after the event was over, I decided to get lunch into the Mexican town area, so I'm just swinging around. There's a nice mural here that kind of highlights Dooley's. Have you ever been there, Jim? It's
Coney Island?
Yeah, it's
I
on
have,
Verner.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long-standing business out on West Verner.
There's the train station. Yeah, that's great news what Ford is doing.
Oh, absolutely.
They're staking a claim to Detroit and saying, okay, we're going to make a go of it here, and let's do it. I'm going to go under the train tracks here. And, Jim, you see some trains here. This is a freight train, but, boy, wouldn't you like to see trains running from Detroit under the Detroit River to Toronto and on to Montreal?
Yeah, in fact, I'm dating myself, but I'm old enough to remember when they ran trains with sleeper cars through the Detroit Tunnel. As regular service, you could go directly to New York. Nowadays, Amtrak will bus you to Toledo, and you can get to New York that way. But you used to pass through southern Ontario. There was a stop in St. Thomas, south of London, and then you re-entered the U.S. at Buffalo, crossing the Niagara River. This is still a very active area because the Detroit-Windsor train tunnel is here.
Yeah, this train is emerging from under the Detroit River, just through the tunnel here and passing by the train station. So I hopefully Ford just not eliminate itself from trains entirely. They're supposed to be the mobility company, so hopefully they embrace the thought that let's do something with trains a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure they do. They are much more enlightened company than they were in the old days when they were just trying to sell as many cars and everything else. Be damned, that kind of thing. And of course, this is vital infrastructure, the international rail crossing. But it would be great to see a passenger service through the tunnel once again.
Well, off in the distance, the Ambassador Bridge, so we're close to all that. And then the Honeybee Market is quite a landmark here in southwest Detroit.
Yes,
nice.
Even bike parking.
Hey, let's listen to this guy. He's cutting concrete, but these are the workers in Detroit. Working the heavy artillery there, but yeah, people
That's heavy equipment, all right. Excuse me.
Even a dandelion has its moment in the sun and kind of.
Yeah, the wildflowers.
Mexican Village is where I decided, hey, I'm hungry enough. I'm gonna stop and have a bite to eat. So, God, look at this. You remember this Tiger Stadium?
Oh, my gosh, on its final day in 1999. Now it's gone. There is a ballpark there.
You get nacho chips and mild and a hot sauce. And trust me, I pretty much polished off those chips. So I'm looking over the menu. Certainly your traditional Mexican fare. I might have opted for the wet burritos, yeah.
No, they're very reasonable.
Oh, God.
Mexican places, they have great service, consistently good food. Mexican Village is one of those places that has stayed and thrived through thick and thin.
Yeah, the margarita was $6.95, and I think my dinner was less than the drink. But yeah, reasonably priced, and you always have the good stick to your ribs kind of food. But before I left, I wanted to check the artwork in the restaurant, and they're into the bullfighting, that kind of thing, and the traditional culture. And so I was fascinated with the artwork and the beautiful women and the dancing and the playing of the music
Yes,
and so
the
forth.
flamenco,
Yeah,
a little Mexican folk art there.
Very
Algo
colorful.
Especial. Oh, they've been there for decades, selling kind of Mexican products and gifts and things like that.
there was a nice array there of piggy banks.
Somebody's got a tricked out truck there.
Roberto
Clemente Recreation Center.
I've heard nothing but good things about Roberto Clemente. He was, God, man, he died too young.
He did. In fact,
was
he
good,
died
man.
in a plane crash delivering.
Trying to help people.
Yeah. I can't remember where he died. Yeah, he was trying
Nicaragua?
to deliver emergency aid to people in the Dominican Republic or
Is that
wherever
what it was?
was.
Okay. Yeah, but
he was a great humanitarian as well as a great ball player.
Probably
for the
as good a
Pittsburgh
humanitarian as he was a ball player.
Pirates. Yeah, iconic figure. And
Here's one of those bulb things again. It's like a total globe, and it's half in bloom, and the other half yet to color, but still cool.
yeah,
There's a lot of neat little gardens, certainly in Detroit, which is great. Promote pride in the city. They got the benches. I like to say art is everywhere, and I think art kind of promotes the culture and the pride that you have in your community. So it's all good.
Absolutely. And you see a lot of this, folk and professional art here in this area we call Mexican Town, which is extended along West Verner Highway.
And there's a lot more bike groups or people that do the biking thing, and there's a ton of bike lanes, and they keep expanding it. That's a great thing for people to look for alternative forms of transportation and exercise, too.
Absolutely. And Detroit was a little behind the curve in accommodating bicyclists. We have a lot of wide streets. Detroit was designed with a lot of wide streets, and some of them have rather light traffic because of the freeways and such. So, and they're supposed to have a walkway, bikeway on the new Gordie Howe International Bridge. So we need to hold them to that.
That's exciting. Here there's a welcome center, and you can get any number of maps and so forth, and then information on camping. I really think we have an opportunity to have some camping in Detroit. The closest they said was Ypsilanti for an RV park, but God, you could have camping in Detroit.
Well, sure we could. We've got some
Plenty
surplus
of land.
space available.
Hell yeah, we do. And people like that kind of thing. There's any number of people that like the outdoorsy kind of stuff. So, yeah, we got to just put our thinking caps on and everybody be part of the situation here.
Absolutely.
This might have been an abandoned restaurant. This one, spring of 2019, it's going to open. Well, that remains to be seen.
Got some work to do.
This, a nice Mexican restaurant here, Verner and St. Anne.
Looks like a little wedge of L.A. or something.
They had a little garage sale, or yard sale, I should say. Look at decorative ironworking. And the bees in action.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying there's a lot of cute little buildings and stuff. Some need work, but
Oh, sure. This neighborhood's been a survivor. You know, it developed when industries were thriving, and it's near the Ford Rouge complex. You had the Cadillac plant up on Michigan Avenue. You had the Fleetwood and Turnstead plants that General Motors had on Fort Street. And besides the Rouge plant, all those other plants are gone now. And yet, here's St. Anne's Church.
Yeah, they were talking about moving the wall. I don't know what all that's supposed to be. They have a big wall there separating all the truck traffic, but nearby is the St. Anne Church, and read the history here. It's quite incredible. This is the first, known church in Detroit or whatever.
Yeah, it's the first parish. Established right in 1701 when Detroit was established by Antoine de la Mothe Sieur de Cadillac.
And the open door policy, I love this. I couldn't resist, so I stepped inside, and there was a young lady giving a tour to some other people, but she welcomed me inside, and I said, great, because it's a beautiful church. I want to show what's inside here. Here was the group she was entertaining, but beautiful stained glass. And what is this, like Renaissance era?
Yeah, this is a kind of Gothic revival. This
Okay.
church was built in the 1880s. So you have the classic stained glass window. You have the pointed arches.
Look at this nice wood thing here for the reader to do the readings, and a little stairwell up there. But just the intricacy and its artistry all around,
This is one of the fine Catholic churches in the city. They really had good taste and artistry, and the Catholic community was really behind building something beautiful, uplifting like that. You see the ribbed vaults.
Oh, the architecture is just incredible.
Wow, beautiful rose window. It's definitely one of Detroit's jewels. The acoustics in there are beautiful too. When you hear the organ being played and hear the choir.
I had a friend that got married in the church there, so it was quite incredible to see that. What a great venue for that. Next door is a school, and I think it's still in operation here. It's,
I see.
Yeah, Head Start kind of thing. I don't know. I'm a little...
What the grade levels are available here?
I'm disparaged if it's charter schools or whatnot. I kind of have a good feeling for people going through the public school process to incorporate the wealth of diversity that comes with that, as opposed to like a private intuition where money might dictate.
Right. We're not sure if that's a charter school or
It might not
actual,
be
a Catholic school. Stanton Park. Now, where are we now?
Just north a little bit. I was kind of impressed by this. A nice little park, and then an urban garden with above ground beds, tomatoes. Tomato.
Yeah.
But there was a gentleman that was tending to the gardens, but you can see the proximity to the train station, and the train station is a magnet. It's kind of the landmark, but it's not just the Corktown neighborhood, but it's certainly southwest Detroit and Mexican Town. And
here we have some, these appear to be newer houses.
They had
Kind of
three
a-
phases, I think, of those newer homes, and they went in certain stretches, and they were affordable housing. Here I'm looking at the train tracks, though. We're going to look where the river tunnel, you see there?
Yeah.
You got the two tunnels. One is made a little bigger to handle the double cars, the one
Right.
on the left.
I guess that's the only one that actually handles trains now.
Yeah, I
So
have
there's twin tubes, but they only run trains on one of them, and then they have utility lines and such running through the other. Well, I think why not, improve both the other tunnels so they can have double track operations?
You can see the one on the left, it was chiseled or whatnot to make it higher.
Make it higher and deeper.
Yeah.
To handle things like those double stack containers, the bigger auto racks, the high cube box cars, that kind of thing.
But you can still do passenger traffic. We got to figure that one out. And then
we do. As it is, the Amtrak trains kind of bypass this area because there's a station at New Center, and then they go on up to Pontiac. So the trains turn at a spot called West Detroit Junction by the old Cadillac plant. So that's why they don't come down here to the old Michigan Central Depot.
Yeah, but people would love... the Red Wings used to take the train to Toronto when they would play games, but they would board the train in Windsor and then take it to Toronto. But it'd be nice if they could if you could board a train in Detroit. That's why I think the Michigan Central Depot, they should have some hotel rooms in that and let high-scale, upscale, or whatever travelers spend a little time and spend a night, but then take the train on to Toronto.
That sounds good to me.
Tourism, I think. You got to promote that. And then you could go the other way to Chicago. Chicago rocks, too. We're in between two world-class cities, Chicago and Toronto. Oh, look at this. Even Channel 4 was talking about getting the train clock back. Oh, we're getting near the top of the hour.
That message delivered loudly to the world Tuesday from the old Michigan Central Station, now a place of possibility.
It became a symbol of the city's hard times, a monument to its struggles. It's time for that to change.
Calling it the next great anchor for Detroit's comeback, Ford Motor Company Chairman Bill Ford Jr., bumping up a crowd of thousands outside the 105-year-old station in Corktown.
The size of its heart.
The spot and a place for local shops.
Just this building and everything around it. This is just...
from the area, and I know he's definitely excited to see Corktown grow and, just bring more people down here.
As property owners like David Larson, who owns several properties. We're going to have tours all weekend. We have details at fox2detroit.com. I'm Erica Erickson, Fox 2 News.
This moment, let's take a look and see how it all transpired.
All right, here's the depot clock that was stolen, but all the news was great. The press conference, everybody followed it. This was terrific. Good deal, but here we'll listen in.
You want to get inside the building and see it, as we've had people driving by all afternoon taking pictures. You can do that this weekend. Go to clickondetroit.com. They have all the details on how you can do that. Back to you.
For an 8-year-old in a wheelchair who they believe took the girl.
Uh-oh. I think we got like 2 minutes to kill. Well, we're going to go to the next segment. Well, this is I already actually aired this, so I don't know why I didn't figure this out right. But this is kind of like nature here, but it's off of 4th Street, and I don't know if it's Rosa Parks, but this is...
Oh, yeah, this is the warehouse building we were talking about being renovated.
Yeah.
And there was a company here called Display and Exhibit Company, and there was a railroad track here. There was a 3rd Street depot. So, yeah, Detroit had another fairly large train station, which was located at West Fort and 3rd, where Wayne County Community College has its downtown campus today. In fact, the main classroom building was built on the foundation of that old 3rd Street depot. And my dad and I rode a train out of there. We went to Plymouth. Can't do that anymore. But we kind of let our passenger train system atrophy. And when the day Amtrak took over on May 1st, 1971, 70% of America's passenger rail system was shut down. Wow. Have a cat.
Yeah.
City
cat. There's some homeless people that take up residence here, and like I say, I'm 2 events removed from being in this position. Lose my job, lose my health, boom, there I am. Folks, though, we're at the top of the hour. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Jim, for helping out.
My pleasure.